For the second example, I'm going to go through again, use all these fundamental trig identities, keeping this sheet out, thinking about these as I'm solving the problem. With this expression here, the first thing that I need to do is I see a secant and a cosecant, and automatically when I see those two, I'm thinking reciprocal identities. So I know that I'm going to have the sine of x, and I'm going to replace secant x with its reciprocal identity of 1 over the cosine of x. And then do the same for cosecant, because I know that cosecant of x is equal to 1 over the sine of x. I'm going to go ahead and multiply these through, so I'm going to end up with sine of x over the cosine of x plus the cosine of x over the sine of x. One of my options from here would be to convert these to tangent of x plus cotangent of x, but I'm going to see if I can go a little bit further with this. And instead, I'm going to get a common denominator between these two fractions. So that means I'm going to multiply this first fraction by a sine of x over a sine of x, and I'm going to multiply the second fraction by a cosine of x times a cosine of x. So what I get now when I go through and do this multiplication is going to be a sine squared x over cosine x sine x plus a cosine squared x over a cosine x sine x. Now that I have a common denominator between these two fractions, I can go ahead and combine my like terms to get a sine squared x plus cosine squared x, all divided by my common denominator of cosine x sine x. Now when I see that sine squared x, cosine squared x, I'm immediately drawn to my Pythagorean identities, because I know that a sine squared x plus a cosine squared x is equal to 1. Sorry about that. So I'm going to take this substitution here and take this identity, the sine squared x, cosine squared x, see that it's right here, and make that substitution of 1. So now I can rewrite this so that I have 1 over, going over here now, the cosine x sine x. I'm now going to split these, the single fraction into two fractions, so I get the product of 1 over cosine x times 1 over sine x. Look at my reciprocal identities, and I know that 1 over cosine x is equal to the secant of x, and 1 over sine is equal to the cosecant of x. And so this would be my final solution.